If there is one country that has successfully brought about the downfall of many great historical armies, it is Russia, formerly known as the Soviet Union. The land's extreme climate and unique military strategies have made it a challenge for the world's greatest military leaders to conquer, only to return home with bitter defeat. However, Russia is not just about its legendary battle history. Today, the country has re-emerged as one of the most feared military powers in the world, with advanced combat technology, modern armaments, and a robust economy that has withstood various sanctions from the West. Since ancient times, Russia has always been a significant challenge for anyone who has tried to conquer it. With an area of over 17 million square kilometers, the country spans 2 continents, Europe and Asia, and crosses 11 time zones. For invading forces, the vastness of the territory is not just a matter of distance, but also a challenge due to the diverse terrain. From the frozen tundra in the north to the dense taiga forests of Siberia and the vast steppes of the south, Russia's terrain is a formidable test for any invader. In the summer, the land can turn into a sea of dust that hinders troop movements. During spring and autumn, the Rasputitsa phenomenon turns roads into nearly impassable mud. And when winter arrives, temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Celsius, freezing anything that is not well protected. History has shown that this geographical factor has been Russia's strongest ally in the face of various invasions. Russian generals have not only relied on their military strength but also used nature as a natural defense. With clever strategies, they have allowed enemies to enter deep into Russian territory, only to face the brutal reality of the unforgiving terrain. No army in the world can match the power of Russia's winter. For centuries, the cold Russian snow has been an invisible enemy for anyone who has tried to conquer this land. The stories of Napoleon Bonaparte and Adolf Hitler serve as stark reminders of how the Russian winter can be a ruthless destroyer. Extreme temperatures, snowstorms that decimate troops, and supplies dwindling due to the challenging terrain have led to the loss of hundreds of thousands of soldiers for these two great leaders. In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte led over 600,000 troops in an invasion of Russia, known as the Grand Armée, the largest military force Europe had ever seen. However, Napoleon underestimated two of Russia's greatest enemies: the winter and the scorched earth strategy. When his troops arrived in Moscow, the city had been abandoned and burned by its own inhabitants. Napoleon waited there for 5 weeks, hoping Alexander I would surrender. Instead, his troops faced extreme temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius during their retreat, with Russian forces attacking relentlessly. Of the 600,000 troops Napoleon led, only around 100,000 returned to France. This history repeated itself over a century later when Adolf Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa in 1941. German Nazi forces advanced deep into Soviet territory but suffered a crushing defeat at the Battle of Stalingrad. This defeat marked a turning point in World War II and signaled the beginning of the end of Hitler's power. After World War II ended, the Soviet Union emerged as one of the world's superpowers, competing with the United States in what became known as the Cold War. The Cold War lasted for over 40 years, with tensions between the Soviet Union and the West reaching a peak in various conflicts, such as the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 and the nuclear arms race. However, the Soviet Union ultimately collapsed in 1991, leading to a period of drastic military and economic decline. The military, once one of the largest in the world, lost funding, fell behind in technology, and saw many of its assets taken over by former Soviet states. However, everything began to change in the early 2000s, especially when Vladimir Putin rose to power. He was determined to restore Russia's military glory and reassert Russia's position as a global power. Some of the steps taken by Putin to revive Russia's military strength included significantly increasing the defense budget. He also modernized combat equipment, including tanks, warships, and new generation fighter jets. In addition, Putin developed advanced weapons such as hypersonic missiles and state-of-the-art air defense systems. He also rebuilt a network of military alliances with friendly countries. As a result, from a nearly collapsed military in the 1990s, Russia's military has now become one of the largest and most technologically advanced in the world. Russia has one of the largest and most technologically advanced militaries in the world. Some of its military advantages include advanced nuclear weapons. Russia has around 6,000 nuclear warheads, making it the country with the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. Their nuclear weapons include hypersonic missiles such as Avangard and Kinzhal. Hypersonic missiles. Russia has developed operational hypersonic missiles such as Zircon and Kinzhal, which can travel at speeds over Mach 10 and cannot be intercepted by enemy defenses. Best air defense systems. The S-400 and S-500 are the most advanced air defense systems in the world, capable of shooting down aircraft, cruise missiles, and intercontinental ballistic missiles. Russia also has highly advanced cyber and electronic warfare units that can cripple enemy infrastructure, including power grids and communication networks. Russia also has one of the largest and most advanced nuclear submarine fleets in the world. These submarines are equipped with nuclear ballistic missiles that can strike targets around the world in a matter of minutes. Some of Russia's main submarines include the Bore, an advanced nuclear submarine with intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the Yasen, an attack submarine equipped with hypersonic missiles and supercavitating torpedoes. Russia is not only militarily strong, but it also has a very robust economy that makes it resistant to various sanctions and Western boycotts. Since 2014, Russia has faced various economic sanctions from the West, especially after the annexation of Crimea from Ukraine. These sanctions were further tightened after Russia launched a military operation in Ukraine in 2022. The sanctions imposed on Russia include freezing of Russian bank and company assets abroad, removal of Russia from the global SWIFT payment system, ban on exports of advanced technology to Russia, and a boycott of Russian oil and gas by European countries. However, instead of destroying Russia's economy, these sanctions have made Russia more self-sufficient, and Russia has quickly adjusted its economy. Russia has developed alternative financial systems and increased trade relations with other countries such as China, India, and the Middle East. Russia is one of the world's largest producers of oil and natural gas. Before the sanctions, 40% of Europe's gas needs were supplied by Russia through pipelines such as Yamal and Nord Stream. However, after the sanctions, European countries reduced their energy imports from Russia. Moscow quickly diverted its exports to China, India, and other Asian countries. Some strategic steps taken by Russia to maintain its global energy dominance include increasing gas exports to China through the Power of Siberia pipeline, selling crude oil at discounted prices to India and other developing countries, and developing new markets in Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. As a result, despite Western countries stopping buying Russian oil and gas, Russia's energy revenue remains high due to continued demand from Asia. In addition to oil and gas, Russia also has large reserves of metals and minerals that are crucial to global industry, such as nickel and palladium used in the battery and electric vehicle industries, steel and aluminum used in manufacturing, and fertilizers and wheat that make Russia one of the world's leading food suppliers. This wealth makes Russia a global economic power that cannot be ignored. Russia has also formed economic alliances with other countries, such as China, India, and South Africa. This alliance aims to reduce the dominance of the US dollar in international trade and build an alternative economic system that is not controlled by the West. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the United States and its NATO allies have seen Russia as a weak power that is no longer a threat to Western dominance. However, Russia has now re-emerged as a global power that challenges Western supremacy.